why do you think flexibility got a bad name? There's not necessarily a lot of time dedicated to increasing flexibility. And do you think it has a side effect on any athletic qualities?
First of all, flexibility is an absolute key to self-protection. Because if you're not flexible, it doesn't mean that all the structures are equally short and stiff. Some will be stiffer, another will be longer. That means that self-protection is not possible because you cannot build the interaction between the components properly. So flexibility is an absolute key to self-protection. So it's for self-protection and health, it's absolutely necessary. And it's underrated everywhere. I mean, each and every AFL player should be flexible, or try to get as flexible as you can. And then it has no negative effect on performance. To put it very simple, if that would be the case, there would be no gymnasts. They're flexible as hell, and they can bounce and be elastic, like unbelievable. I had two high jumpers, one who was stiff as a doornail, and the other did martial arts, so you could kick, high kicks and everything, and do splits and whatever you want. And they both jumped higher than 230. So there's no connection whatsoever between flexibility and how well you can use your elastic properties. That's a myth. So I would always make it a very important part of my program for self-protection.
And for the athletes listening in, what's your favorite way to improve flexibility?
There's actually just one simple rule. Flexibility is a skill. Passive stretching doesn't make any sense. That somebody is stretching you. You have to do it as a skill. And as soon as you know what the skill is, then you put it under pressure by making it less stable. So you have to be keeping your balance while you're doing the stretching. And then anything goes. I'm not interested in whether you're too static or dynamic stretching, because it's a skill. All of these things are important. So you have to approach it as a skill.
You mentally engage with the task when you're doing flexibility training, just like when you're doing a coordinative complex movement. When athletes typically do passive stretching, if there's balance involved, do you feel like a challenging task that the athlete needs to focus on?
Basically, you see, that's how we do hamstring stretching. If you stretch a muscle that's not active, the line of stretch always go to the same pathway, right? And it can be very easy the case that you're having this pathway, but that the spot that is tight is over there. So that doesn't make much sense. What you should do, and that's a little bit PNF kind of stuff, is that you're stretching while the muscle is active. So once we do it with hanging TRX, put your foot in there in a kind of a lunge. You manipulate the position of your pelvis and whether your knee is flexed or extended. You can find any spot in your hamstring, and your hamstring needs to be active, otherwise you can't be in that position. And then you start to play around that spot. I implemented that with a few rugby teams, and it took them 4 minutes, and after 4 minutes I said, okay, you can go, we know exactly what we need to do. Because we feel exactly where the stretching pain becomes very sharp, and that's where we need to be, because that's a tight spot. So stretching active muscles is probably the best way to do it. And then you're very much into the realm of coordination. How can you keep the muscle activated and make sure you don't fall over while you're finding that spot which is tight, and then stretch around that spot.